See, this is why I don't do this stuff because I would be like, "Fuck this, I'm done."
Oh, he's had that moment. We both had that moment already.
I told you, I'm like, I quit.
Fucking week one.
It's DMP, baby. DMP switch shotgun. Tell us what you talking about.
I don't want to stop, and you know we guarantee to give you what we got.
Right.
I don't want to stop, and you know we guarantee to give you what we got.
Let's go. Left Coast Kings, and you owe it to yourself.
What's up with it, folks? Cowboys of the Chef. Y'all can call me D. Left Coast Kings, thing one. I'm in the building. What's good?
What's up, Thingsters? Doc Madness, also known as Madman Smooth, and Thing 2 from Sweatshop Recordings and Demolition Man Productions. What's good with it, world? You're now tuned, focusing, watching, experiencing, and a part of Thingz Of That Nature.
And you owe it to yourself. What's up with it, bro? What's going down? How you feeling?
Everything's going dizzy and everything's on the way up. What about yourself, man?
Same here, man. You know, no complaints. Body hurt a little bit. Been trying to get back on that regiment, you know, trying to get right.
I hear you, bro.
Yeah.
You on your way, bro? Keep doing it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Ain't gonna stop now. I started. Shit.
Yeah. Or mental now. It's all mental. I know I gotta do the same thing, man. Gotta do the same thing. I'm on my journey though. I'm getting there.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what we got going on today?
Before we even get to that, bro, I was peeping something out, man. I just gotta get your little partake on this, bro. Participation trophies, bro. I was watching this little, I don't know, show, whatever it was, man, and I had to give respect to the father, man, because he said that his son was basically in a travel league playing AAU, and the team sucked, right? Basically, the team sucked, but yet they were still getting trophies, and he was like, wait a minute. He had to tell his son, like, no, we got to take it back. And the son didn't understand why. And the coach didn't understand why. He was like, because they didn't win anything. Like, what are we giving them a trophy for? And they didn't win anything. And I was like, thank you, man. Like, I mean, I get it, bro, but I really have my own conclusion on the reason why society's getting the way it's getting, and everybody is so fucking sensitive, bro. And I think a lot of it starts with right there. I started to see, hey, here's a root of the fucking problem right here. At least one of them. And it's because of, hey, you suck, but hey, here's an accolade because you participated and you did something. And it's like, you didn't do shit. You didn't do anything. So let me go ahead and just ask you, my guy. Give me your partake.
Participation trophy. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Complete and total bullshit. Yeah. Man, I real life doesn't give you participation trophies, right? What goes on? So when you do that, right, you give this kid this false image or ideology or something of that. No matter what, as long as I just kind of try, I'm gonna get something out of it. And that's not true in real life. Like you go out for an interview and you don't get the job, they don't say here's 20 grand for just trying. You know what I'm saying? Nah, you didn't get the job. On to the next, right? So if you lost. You don't get shit. Better luck next time. Step your game up. Work harder. You know what I'm saying? Because in real life, that's what you got to do, right?
Right.
You know, you're at a company and there's multiple people applying for the position. You feel like you got it, but let's say you don't interview well. You think you're really gonna get that? Nah, there's a good chance that if you don't interview well,
refer you to another job, bro. That's how it's gonna happen.
Yeah. You can stay at this position because you're not ready for that next level, right? And they don't give you like you don't get a bonus for not getting the promotion. You know what I'm saying? Better luck next time.
No, that's it.
My killer is alerting me about something. He ain't about to do shit. He's laying in his bed barking.
You know what he did, right? He said, yeah, he agrees. He agrees.
Well, maybe he does.
Yeah.
Maybe he does.
Like, nah, I don't get, no participation treat. I better do what he says or else I don't get nothing. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But all jokes aside, man, it's just one of those things, bro, that I just didn't get, man. And like I said, my son, they participate in sports. The nieces and nephews and extended, family that I love like mine, that they all participate in something, but they're not getting an accolade just for the participation. If you want that, and if that's that big of a deal to you, win it. Practice. Put in the work. Do what you gotta do to get better. And parents, stop telling them that they're great when they're not great. I understand you got to build them up. I'm not telling you to take away their dreams and aspirations. But
be real. Be 100% honest with them, whether it hurts their feelings or not. Because in real life, your feelings is going to get hurt and you're going to have to do it moving still.
Right. I mean, and help them. Don't just criticize or critique them. Right. I mean, man, you help them, put in the work, man, get out there and show them yourselves too, because, I watch it from a distance, when I watch my sons play and other, people play that I support. And it's like, you get to see how involved or why some of these children feel that the participation trophy is needed. And then the parents that feel the same way, because it's, like I believe you said it, D, at a good point. It's like you didn't coach, you don't play, you don't do what you do to live through your children at the sport. You did what you did, but you know what I mean? And you're at wherever you're at with it, and this is how you're giving back. So you're not vicariously trying to live through our children.
I'm not gonna force a child to do something that they. I mean, okay, if you're trying to get your kid out there to, let's say, meet friends, be a little bit more social, stuff like that, that's fine. But you can't push them if it's really not for them. You see, right. You can see if they like it. If they like it, even then, you don't want to force it down their throat. They have to want to do it. You know what I mean? They have to want it. And if they want it, they're going to show interest. And if they don't, they're not. I mean, we've had kids, I've coached kids who, they don't even want to be out there, but their parents want them to make friends and blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But don't expect you to get, Player of the Year award or something. Nah, homie, you can't expect that. You know what I mean? You're on and if you lose, you lose. You don't get nothing.
There's one trophy.
That's it. The champs, bro. That's what you're gunning for. I can tell you when my son, his first year youth league, right? My oldest kid, they go undefeated all the way to the championship game and got spanked. Didn't nobody want to see that little funky ass runner-up shit they gave him. And it said runner-up on the back, bro. I was like, this is trash. This is trash. That would insult me and make me want to come back and demolish y'all next year. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, want this shit? Fuck out of here with that. Come on. No, I'm cool.
Bro, when you go to somebody's house and they have their display wall and it shows their accolades and it shows their awards and it shows all their trophies, and you go up there, man, and not near one of them says first place, if all of them motherfuckers said second place, third place, runner up, fourth place. Like what the, who in the why the, like, I don't get it, man. Make me understand. Somebody, you know what I'm saying? If y'all feel different, love to debate it, discuss it, however you feel, would love to hear about it. Put it in the comments. No disrespect, but that's just not one that I budge on. I believe that there's a lot in our society that I see, that it's like, man, like that's not worthy of what is described to be a young man, described to be a warrior, described to be a team spirit. It's like, bro, like, leave that person down on the floor, man. Go back into, if the player's dead, then I can understand if you felt you did something wrong. Yeah, you can go here, help him up. I'm not saying trample him. I'm not saying hit him and then watch him, you know, wiggle on the ground. I'm just saying, though, like, the play goes on. It's all part of sports. Stop, you know, desensitizing the love of actually going out and competing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're doing. We're making it to the point to where it's like, you don't have to compete. Like, I like that competitive game, man, and that nature, and let them go out and do it. Not just like, hey, I want you to play this because I want you to be athletic, or I want you to do this to be active in something. Like, there's those type of leagues. That's fine. That's called park and recreation. But once you start taking it above that, like, you know, you know, you're paying for these basketball leagues or these teams and clubs and camps, you know, and bro, that's not the place to go ahead and waste your money and throw your child out there. And then for the coaches, you know, just something that they got to think about too, man. You can't play everybody just because they got a heavy bag invested into your, you know what I'm saying, your program, man. Like let's stop that too. So anyhow, man, let me kick my box off of, you know what I'm saying, from underneath me, man. And that leads us into our next segue. After we go ahead and take a short break, we'll come back and introduce that for y'all.
We'll be back, y'all.
All right, y'all. Yep. Like we said, I had to go ahead and take a quick break, man, and kind of like go ahead and gather our senses back, man. But we would love to hear from y'all. If y'all got anything to say on it, and that's the last one, that on me. So what we got going, D, what we got for today?
Man, we have a special guest. Got a nice segment of unfiltered convos we about to jump into, man. And I think it's a respiratory therapist.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Hey, for all my people out there in the medical field, man, this one's for y'all. Salute.
Let's go.
What up, y'all? Welcome to Unfiltered Convos. It's the D and the Doc, and we're back with a special guest. Another one, y'all. How you doing, Katherine? How you feeling?
Hello, how are you guys? I'm good. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Glad you can bless us with some of your time. I know you got a busy schedule, but we'll dive more into that. D, how you feeling right now, man?
Man, I'm good, bro. A little sore, but I'm good. Been on that, trying to get right.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You'll get
I'm gonna get there. Yeah, I'm gonna get there. I'm mad because I didn't stay there, but you know,
it happens, man.
It's all good.
You're on the right path. You're on the right path. All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna go ahead and just jump right into this, Katherine. We're gonna go ahead and give you the airspace to go ahead and let us know a little about what you do. I know you're in the medical field, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that could benefit from some of the information that you can provide to us today. So go ahead and tell us a little about who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it.
Okay. Well, I'm Katherine. I'm a pediatric neonatal respiratory therapist. I've been doing it for about 18 years now. So I work in hospitals. I've worked for a couple different major hospitals, that trauma centers. I've worked on transport teams, ambulance and air flight transport, helicopter transport. I've done I floated everywhere, so I worked on all different floors in the ER and ICUs. Currently, I am more working with our cardiac patients, so heart transplant kids, cardiac surgeries, stuff like that. Manage their ventilators post-op, breathing machines for those that aren't into like medical stuff or know the terminology. So I basically just make sure your lungs are working and you can breathe.
Right. Sounds good. Definitely. If you don't mind just explaining a little bit about your field. I know you said you've been a part of this and you've been doing it for this long. Just your respiratory therapy, you said neonatals, that just working with like newborn kids, like the pediatric. Why no adults? You ain't feeling like you want to work with the adult patients?
I'm good on adults. Adults don't listen. They don't want nothing to do with you. They don't listen. They want, to come back after I'm done with my cigarette. Sir, you're here for lung cancer. Why do you need to go have a cigarette? Like that kind of stuff. Like I don't have the time or patience. So kids, I feel like, when I was doing my medical rotations, I always kind of wanted to work with kids, but going through the different areas and figuring out that like I could deal with the kid being mad at me. I could deal with the kid throwing a tantrum. I can deal with the kid, being combative on to a certain extent, but a grown ass person, no, I'm not. Okay, I'll see you later. And then I'm not coming back because you're old enough to know and understand that I don't need to act like your mom. So neonatal pediatrics, hospitals are kind of set up differently. There's some hospitals that have pediatric, like adult facilities that have like pediatric and neonatal floors. I have only worked at strictly pediatric hospitals. So anything from premature to 18, but if they have known medical issues or if they've been treated for a long time, they age out of our facilities. I've had like 23, 25 is probably the highest. But those are for more chronic kids that have, chronic issues. And, I think pediatric facilities are a lot different. The care is different. And I hate to say it, but you get better care at pediatric facilities. Like, I think people are just a lot less burnt out. They're in it more for the quote unquote right reasons, and so a lot of parents will age out and, we coordinate care to get followed up through an adult facility. And then especially for chronic kids, kids that may have like, that mentally have mental like issues and aren't fully capable to be on their own, that need parents to take care of them and things like that. So parents are used to being able to be involved on a certain level, and then you get to adult facilities and adult facilities don't care. Like they don't care that you're their mom. They don't care. They're going to do what they're going to do, and that's how it is. So a lot of parents try to come back after they've aged out, and we're like, sorry, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I've taken care of everything from like 500-gram tiny premature babies that are as small as like a Coke can to big, huge children, like 300-pound linebacker football players. So, and everything in between.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. How does that affect parenting at home and the understanding of the blessing that you have, regardless of, what's going on in your day or what minor things that we would probably see on a regular? Because you like say, when you go to work, you're seeing almost the worst of the worst, and being able to still stay focused and level-headed, and then being able to come home. How does that, play a big effect into being a mother?
I think it plays a lot of effect into it. I definitely always feel very blessed and very thankful that my kids are healthy. They've had normal illnesses, had to go to the hospital a couple times for like, fluids from being dehydrated or, sick, like stuff like that. But we've never been like admitted for a lengthy stay. They've never had any kind of chronic health problems or anything like that. So I'm happy that they're okay, and I think sometimes I try not to let things get to me, like little things that would upset other people, like, oh, I got a flat tire, or, oh, my overtime on my check didn't come through, or, just little things that would make you upset, because I know in the back of my mind that, like, at the end of the day, we're healthy, we're happy, we're okay. But I think it also does make me a little bit neurotic when it comes to them. When they aren't feeling good, or when they, mom, I have a headache, and I'm like, okay, well, what kind of headache? How long have you had it? Do you feel nauseous? Because I'm thinking, okay, what if they have a brain tumor? Or, just things like that, where like my mind always goes to kind of worst case scenario, because it happens. We have kids come in that, oh, they've been throwing up for 3 or 4 days, and we took them to urgent care, and they thought it was just a virus, but now, the left side of their face is droopy. And so they go through CT scan and they have a massive inoperable brain tumor, and they're like 4 years old, So it's just that kind of stuff where, things that life things, daily things that people get upset about or think they're a big deal. I just think, like, I don't necessarily say it all the time, but I'm just like, dude, you have no idea. Like, you're so blessed. Like, that's not a fucking issue. Like, okay, yeah, you I don't know, laid on that credit card payment that you thought you were going to pay off last week or whatever. And I'm like, just be happy you have a credit card, like that kind of stuff. So.
Exactly.
Be happy you're not trying to figure out how to pay $500,000 in medical bills for your child's cardiac surgery, that kind of stuff. So.
Definitely. Understood.
Yeah.
We'll just their water, coffee, what keeps you awake?
Coffee, I just drink for flavor now because I like it. I've been working night shift for 18 years, so I think I have caffeine just to get me to normal. It doesn't like help me wake up. It's just like, okay, I can function now. But yeah, I have coffee and I have water because you got to stay hydrated.
Right.
That helps.
And you come home and get to relax. You come home and get to unwind a little bit. What's that situation? I know you work nights. The kids all go to school or what?
So I have 4 kids total, 2 older ones that I call mine, but they are my stepkids. They're 25 and 26. And I just say that because people look at me like, damn, did you have a child when you were like 11?
Right.
But no, I didn't. They came as a package deal when I met my husband. So, and then I have a 14-year-old and an 8-year-old. My 14-year-old is in junior high, so she goes to school. My 8-year-old, I homeschool.
Wow.
For various reasons.
Okay.
So I don't do homeschool with him when I'm working. Like, if I work 2 days in a row, then we don't do school. So that means maybe do school on Friday and Saturday instead of, the traditional Monday through Friday kind of thing. So I just make it work to my schedule. But I normally get home. I try not to work back-to-back days if I can have a day off, because then I'm up with him doing stuff, and then I'll maybe get a little nap in here and there. Which is why I tell you, like, caffeine is it just makes me normal. The good thing is, though, is that I work 12-hour shifts. So, I only have to work 2 to 3 days a week. So I have a lot of downtime in between that, which I'm thankful for.
Right.
I don't think I could work a 9 to 5.
I hear that. And definitely what you do is 9 to 5. So thank you for all of that. What made you decide to get into that field?
So it kind of happened like in a roundabout way. I grew up with asthma. My grandmother had emphysema, so she was on oxygen. And she was like a grandma, like gray hair, walker, moo, the whole 9 So, and both of my grandparents on my mom's side died when I was younger. My grandfather had heart issues. So I was kind of around the medical field. I knew what respiratory therapy was, obviously, because I had, I'm asthmatic. So I've had hospital stays and stuff like that. So originally I wanted to be a pediatric pulmonologist. That was, I gotten into UCI, spent their quarter system, which is insane because it goes so fast. But I spent a quarter there and then realized that this was not fit for me. I wanted nothing to do with it. It was just a rat race that I didn't want to be a part of. I knew that it wasn't like, okay, I can do this for a year or two and then I'm going to get to my goal. Like, it's like a 10-year commitment, right? And things are just very competitive. Everybody's trying to get into med school. Everybody, looking at you like you're my competition. Like, so, I missed a day of class and nobody wants to share their notes because cool. If she doesn't know all the information, she's gonna fail out, and then that's one less person to have to worry about.
Yeah.
And I'm not built like that. And so I decided that I was gonna withdraw. I just started going to JC, like junior college, the local one where I was at, and they had an allied health program, or not program, but like, what's the word? I don't know. We'll just go with program. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. That kind of went over all of the like ancillary stuff, like, you know, radiology, sleep lab, respiratory, ultrasound tech, like all that kind of stuff. So I took a class on that just to kind of figure out, well, you know, I knew I wanted to do medical, but I knew I didn't want to do nursing. So I was like, let me just see what they have. So I just landed on respiratory therapy because it was something that I was familiar with and something that I had experience with. And then graduated in 4 years and was done by the time I was 23, and I've been working ever since.
Was it something that you the field and going into college, was that something that was instilled from you, like your family? Was it one of those, hey, this is what you got, these choices, medical field, da 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 da? You know, some people only have selected choices going into the next stages of life after high school. Was that something that you chose on your own, or was your
So my grandfather was very big. My mom and dad was very big into going to college. He never went to college, but I think his generation, you know, they pushed that college, like college is the way to get to where you want to go. You know, that's like how you become successful, that kind of stuff. So it wasn't like you have to be a doctor, you have to be this, you have to be that, but it was, you're going to go to college, like one way or the other. That's the goal. My mom and dad were a little bit less, what's the word I'm looking for? Focused on that. My dad, immigrant, so first generation here from Mexico. So just the simple fact that I graduated high school, he was like, yeah, we won. Like, we're good. You made it. You hit the goal. Because I don't think he got past what we would consider 6th or 7th grade before he started working. And then my mom had some junior college stuff, but she quit school to help with doing payroll and books for my grandfather's business. So she never finished her associate's degree. So it was expected that I was going to go to college, but there wasn't like you have to be this or that, or you're excommunicated from the family, or we're not going to help you, or stuff like that. It was a little bit, there was more wiggle room with, you know, what I wanted to do.
Okay. Nice. Good support system for you.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you do to unwind?
Well, in all of my free time.
I mean, because what you see every day,
Right.
I mean, to drive somebody to drink, like, you know what I mean? Like, just, I mean, I'm sure it does. Like, it's probably for some people, you know, they probably don't know how to deal with the stress. So how do you?
Yeah, for sure.
Cope.
I mean,
how do you cope
definitely
with seeing so?
Well, I have a horse. I've had horses since I was a kid, so that's kind of like I go there and de-stress and hang out. And, you know, horses are very intuitive animals. People think they're just kind of dumb, stupid animals, but they're really not. They know when something's wrong. They know when you're upset. So I've spent many days out there crying and getting it all out and coming back home and resetting. Definitely enjoy some wine, you know, a couple drinks here and there. Yeah. A lot of it too, I think, is just kind of talking to my coworkers, you know, because unless you're in the field and unless you see it, like, I can tell you about it, but you don't really get it. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, oh, damn, that sucks. But like the emotion that you feel and just the way you have to pivot in a 12-hour shift is, you don't get it unless you're in it, right? So I think a lot of my coworkers and I, just when we're at work and we have some, you know, if we're on our break or we have some downtime, we kind of just like talk to each other about stuff, you know, and kind of decompress that way. My employer also has debriefings a lot of the time, like if things on the unit have been really, really stressful, or we've lost a lot of patients, or if there's just been some really, you know, upsetting kind of situations, they do have debriefing, and we have like employee health services, and they'll help you, you know, find a chaplain to talk to if that's the route you want to go, or a therapist, or, you know, things like that. They have little retreats you can go on. So, you know, they do try to help on that end of things. But yeah, just being out with my horse, I think, is mainly what helps me. You kind of forget all the other stuff. And
Yeah,
Right.
that's what's up.
You retreat from the chaos to nature.
yeah, people think it's crazy, you know, like I've kind of become a lot more spiritual as I've gotten older. And I think people don't realize how much nature really heals you. You know, when you're out there and you kind of just leave all the other stuff behind and you reconnect to stuff and you start hugging trees and putting your feet in the dirt and you know, all that kind of stuff.
It's scientifically proven. Grounding with nature is good for the body. It's good
Yeah,
for it.
definitely.
We just, you know, they say that one of the worst things ever made was the rubber sole,
Right?
Right.
because it keeps you from being grounded to the earth. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Very true. What advice would you give to somebody who is contemplating getting into the medical field, particularly as respiratory therapists? And then we can even go more like you doing with neonatal and peds. But what advice would you give somebody? Like, is there a certain type of personality type? Do you have to be like an empath? Do you have to be very generous? You have to be cold-hearted? You have to be able to displace things and decompartmentalize things a lot? Like, what would you give somebody and looking into themselves as to, hey, you know what, I want to, but I'm not sure. You know, how would you guide that?
Honestly, I think you have to be all those things at different times, right? Okay. So I think especially when it comes to kids, I think kids, there's some people that won't do anything with children because it's too much. You know, like you have to, it's a lot to process, a lot to absorb. And so I think when you're trying to figure out what you want to do, respiratory therapy is kind of like, how do I put it? Everybody knows nurses, right? So Nurses Week and thank your nurse and nurse this and nurse that. Right. RTs are at the bedside just as much as nurses, but we don't get the same type of recognition for it because everybody lumps us into the nursing category. So you kind of have to have a little bit of thick skin and just understand, like, nobody's going to really know who you are, you know, or what you do or why you're there, or you're just going to be like another nurse kind of thing. Number two, you have to have empathy to do bedside care. If you don't have empathy, if you're at a point where you don't care about your patient, you shouldn't be in the field. Like, it's just, you're done. Like, and I've encountered people like that who've been doing it for 40 years. It's just, none of it matters anymore. They're basically just waiting out till retirement. So if you don't genuinely care about just human life in general, like, if it's not the field for you, you know, because you're not going to go into it thinking, how would I want my child to be treated? How would I want myself, you know, as their parent to be addressed and that kind of thing. But then you also do have to compartmentalize. You have to, like, if I came home and thought about all the kids that I have encountered over the years that have passed or have been hurt or have had dramatic life changes, I wouldn't function. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, excuse me. So you have to, at some point, be able to close it off and then continue outside of work, you know. And there's been plenty of, even at work, the thing about respiratory therapists is that we function throughout the hospital, right? So as a float therapist, I worked in every unit of the hospital, in the ER, on the floors, in the ICU. There's a role where I would kind of just go around and help people that needed help. It was kind of like I don't know what you would call it, but if the hospital is really busy and like, hey, can you do this for me? Then I would do that. So there have been days where I walk in and I started on the ER, working in the ER, and then things change and they pull me to work in the NICU. And then later that night, they pull me to go do something else. So in a 12-hour shift, I've done 3 or 4 different roles in 3 or 4 different locations of the hospital, with maybe 5 or 6 different patients. You know, our workloads are not like nurses' workloads where we have like a set ratio. You know, I can be responsible, not necessarily having to treat that many patients, but I can be responsible for 10, 15, a whole floor of patients. Whereas if like I might not have to go and check on them, but if something happens with that patient, I have to be able to respond. So there's a lot of time management that you need to be good at time management. You need to be good at being able to pivot when you need to pivot. For us, let's say that I'm working in the ICU. I have average 6 or 7 patients that I am responsible for. 4 of them are intubated. A couple of them are on, cannulas, high flow cannulas, which is like a higher level of oxygen delivery. If one of my patients codes and dies on that shift, I'm still responsible for my other patient. So I have to process what just happened in that room with that patient, with their parent, give myself a couple minutes to take a walk, take a breath, go cry in the bathroom, splash water on my face, and then walk in with a smile to the room next door. And I think that's a caveat that people don't really realize about RTs is that, nurses, especially in ICUs, if they're an intubated patient, usually they're 1-to-1. It's you only have that patient. And let me preface this with, this is my experience. I don't know what happens in New York. I don't know what happens in Idaho. I don't know what happens in Texas. I don't know what your ratios are out there. Right. But for my experience, ICU nurses usually at the most have 2 patients to, them. And if there are 2 patients, very rarely is one of them intubated with a breathing tube that's on a breathing machine. So if that nurse loses the patient that she has for that night, she's not responsible for anybody else. You know what I mean? So she has the time, or he or she has the time to take a moment, process, go change their scrubs that blood's all over or vomit is all over or, stuff like that. RTs don't usually get that. What's the word I want to say? We don't get that time to be able to do that. And so I think that's something that people really need to think about is, am I the type of person that can experience loss and death and then 2 minutes later go play with a 2-year-old? Because not everybody has that capacity in them. Not everybody can pivot like that. Not everybody can switch like that. So I think that, probably the biggest thing is you have to really kind of have a thick skin about things sometimes. I was working one night and I was in a position where I was making workloads for the floor, so I didn't have any direct patient care. But we had a child come in that was brought in by EMS, actively coding. Long story short, the patient didn't make it. It was about 18-month-old patient. Mom is losing her mind, like to the point where she's running through the ER, like dad's, trying to calm her down. It's just a very almost like a movie scene, So that happens. And then I go back upstairs and I'm still responsible for making assignments for people. So I start doing that, make assignments, do all this kind of stuff. And come to realize when day shift comes in, it's like, hey, how's your night? I had completely blocked out what just happened at the beginning of my shift because I had to focus on what else I had to do. And I don't know that not everybody can do that. You know what I mean? And so I think healthcare workers, especially people that do direct bedside care, unless you do it and see it, you might not realize that that's what it is, that's what it's like. And so I think that's something that's the real part of things that people don't, usually it's like, oh, how much do you make? What's the salary like? What are your hours? Unlike, that's that kind of stuff. But it's like, no, this is, I think that I read an article that said respiratory therapists have as much PTSD as firefighters and police officers because of just what we do and what we see. And we don't know what our shift's going to be like. Like you walk into it and maybe yesterday it was cool and chill and all your kids were great and you extubated this kid and this kid went home and this kid got their heart transplant and, everything was cool. And the next day it's like trauma here, death there, that kind of thing. So
it's like that mystery box.
Yeah.
Reach your hand in. What we got today, you gotta be strong mentally to be able to handle that and cope with it and actually get through your day. because that
For sure.
all of that could have happened in the first 3 hours. You still got 9 more to go. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I asked that, because sometimes when, like you said, a lot of people make decisions based on salary, based on time. Like, okay, this is going to be this. I can work with that. I like that. I like this location. So they don't really give the meat and potatoes of what it's like and what the job actually is entailing and what is required of you as an individual and as a person. I mean, if you're just breaking down every time, adversity hits you and you find yourself in a corner crying, this might not be the field for you, but they won't probably consider that because it's themselves, and they'll be like, I can handle it. And next thing you know, you got a chaotic situation, and then a person that's panicking and anxiety going. I mean, that just doesn't mix. So that was one of the reasons I asked that, because I know you to be a very level-headed, a thinker's person, meaning that you're going to think before you react. So that process of being goes hand in hand with the profession that you pick, and sometimes we don't take that into consideration. And I'd like to add, you said something very important, as you alluded to, like when this is all going on, and if you're a person that doesn't leave it where it's at, you know what I mean? Like, you take that with you. You're the same person that I might run into at the grocery store, average looking person. You don't think these things, and that PTSD or that situation, that moment, that overbearing, that little bit that tips the cup over. You know what I mean? Like all of that. And it could be also from your situations of your working environment. You know what I mean? And
for sure. And that happens. Like, I like to think and pretend I come home and I'm like, Mary Poppins mom and everything's great and hunky-dory and I got a smile on my face. And but there's definitely days where, I've worked shifts in a row and I wake up and I'm grumpy, and sometimes I have to be like, take a second and step back and be like, okay, you need to shift your mindset, because I know, like, I'm tired. I work nights, so I average 4 to 6 hours of sleep a day, on a good day, sometimes less. And that's not even full sleep. That's like, okay, I came home, bed at 10. Then I woke up at 12 because I had to use the restroom. Then I went back, but then like the neighbor's dog's barking. So I'm laying in bed for like 30 minutes trying to go back to sleep. Mm-hmm. And then I wake back up because somebody's car alarm's going off. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you go to bed and everything's quiet and you wake up and that's not what it is. So I think sometimes I really have to, like, my husband or my kids will be like, dude, what's wrong, mom? And I'm like, okay, like, let me take a breath. Let me go, regroup myself, because as hard as I try to, leave it at home or not at home, leave it at work and not think about it or, shake it off and that kind of stuff, it still seeps through. It's hard to not let it seep through. And that's another thing you got to think about, is this career going to be okay for your family? Is your family going to be able to absorb, what you're like when you come home, or being on for 12 hours a day, or working nights and sleeping and that kind of stuff. It's not for everybody. Some people want that 9 to 5, working weekends and holidays. You got to let me know what you want to do 2 months in advance, because my schedule goes out 6 weeks. So I got to know, hey, we have a birthday party next weekend. Have fun, because I won't be there, So that's another thing, if your kids play sports, there were many days I went into work on, 2-3 hours of sleep because I wasn't missing my kids. That's just not going to happen. So that's, that too. Holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, I've been working long enough. You build up some seniority. You can kind of be like finagle the days you want to work. But when you're first starting out, you're low man on the totem pole. So you're working Christmas, you're missing, Thanksgiving, you're not going to that New Year's Eve party, that kind of stuff. So that's another caveat to it. Hospitals don't close,
They sure don't. And we all know you got such a great husband and understanding individual and support system by your side. That man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But that, definitely the family, situation is another side of it that people probably don't consider, especially not just family if it's just a you and a him. But now you start to add those 1, 2, 3 dependents as well, and it really starts to take a toll in everything. It all meshes together, it blends. And like you said, you add extracurricular activities, vacations, family, extended family things. And it's just like, man, it's a lot to juggle. So salute, for you to still be in it, still maintaining yourself, still keeping yourself some type of sane. I know we would all say we're sane, but I know we all lose it and have that insanity moment that feels great. Hey, it's all right. But yeah, that's something that I if you don't hear it enough, thank you, especially in the healthcare field. I mean, that's a tough deal after the COVID situation. I'm sure that was chaotic for you being in that.
Actually, you know what? For the pediatrics field, it really wasn't. I think because kids were home, they weren't getting sick the way adults were. So, like, our hospital wasn't super busy. It wasn't like bursting at the seams. I can't speak for other hospitals, but the pediatric world wasn't hit as hard with it as the adult world. So I'm kind of thankful for that, because I had friends that worked in the adult world, and man, have you, questioning your life choices at that point. But we definitely had kids come in that were sick, that were in the hospital for a long time. But it wasn't at the volume that the adult facilities were seeing. So that was kind of the saving grace with it all.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a little fun with this one though, on a lighter note. So just need to ask, since on your way to work, going to the gym, hanging out at the poolside, riding the horse, what do you be listening to? What's in your playlist?
What don't I listen to? Oh man. So if I'm out at the bar and I'm listening to country, just because it's fitting, right? Country or like classic rock. My dad was a huge classic rock fan. I don't even think I listened to like real-time radio until I was probably in junior high school. My dad was all about Rolling Stones, the Bee Gees, AC/DC, all of that kind of stuff. So that's what I was raised on. My mom was, a doo-wop kind of person. So Temptations, all that kind of stuff. All like when K-Earth. So, okay, little sidebar. Have y'all listened to K-Earth anytime recently?
No.
And they're playing like Bon Jovi and stuff like that. When I was growing up listening to K-Earth, it was like the Temptations and Diana Ross and actual like oldies music. Now they got stuff from the 80s, and I'm like, what is this? What is going on? So that's definitely, if I'm trying to chill, then it's, kind of oldies, that kind of stuff. Everything 80s, all the 80s hairband, all of, that kind of stuff. Madonna, Michael Jackson. Oh gosh. Of course, Tupac, that's a given. Hip hop. I don't really listen to music that's big now. Like, I know I'm not a Beyonce fan. She's not it for me. I don't listen to like Nicki Minaj. I'm not into like all the new stuff. It's all older stuff. There's a few, like I like NF, like a newer artist, that kind of stuff, but nothing that's, mainstream per se. Snow the Product. Love me some Snow the Product. She's one of my favorite female rappers because I feel like she actually raps about some shit, and it's not just look at my ass and that kind of stuff.
Even though she's got a ass, but yes.
It's beautiful for sure.
Yes. Not to her.
But yeah, I listen to everything. I don't have a pigeonhole of it just kind of depends on the mood that I'm in, what I want to listen to.
Do you have a particular country artist? Or you just
I like the older ones. So Garth Brooks for sure. He's amazing. I like Kenny Chesney. I like Miranda Lambert. She's a little bit newer. But just country in general. Fun fact though, my husband's actually the one that got me into it because he loved country. I didn't grow up listening to that, and I believe you've all have seen him because he was on the thing before, but that man does not look like he anything about anything that's country. And when he first started listening to it, I was just like, what is wrong? Like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Why are you? But you know, like took a few times, but he actually got me into it. So that's also like what I listen to when my little ones are in the car. Things with a little bit more PG kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. You ever listen to Louis the singer?
No, I don't know who that is.
Singer? Look him up.
Mhm.
Louis the singer.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from Texas.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm always
cool.
looking for new stuff.
Yeah.
That's why we ask that. So that way we take stuff and I go look it up and get
Yep, exactly. I'm over here taking notes. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Definitely. Well, D, any last things that you need to ask of Katherine while she's here?
Man, she answered all my questions. If you didn't ask them, she answered them. So I'm not. I just sit here and listen sometimes. I don't have to ask. Like, all my questions get answered. So yeah. I just
it flows.
I just appreciate you coming on and letting us into your world on what you do, man. I don't think I could do that job either. I like kids too much. I'll be mad and then don't let no kid come in being abused because I'll be looking for the parents in the parking lot and shit. Like, hey, you know what you did, right? You about to get your I couldn't.
That's why we figured there's police officers there as soon as we suspect it because things get crazy. That or parents just try to disappear. Like once they figure out that we kind of know what's going on, they just peace out and then you can't find them. So it's a lot of times we try to keep everything very copacetic to get to get all the pieces of the puzzle lined up because parents aren't stupid. They know what they're doing, unfortunately. But
that part. Well, I definitely want to say thank you once again for blessing us with your time. And I know you got a busy schedule as we hear, but also you make a lot of the respiratory therapists and even more so the neonatal respiratory therapists look very good. So keep doing the tremendous work, stand tall, and don't stop. I know they need you. So we all need you in those positions. So thank you again. And say what's up to the hubby for me when you see him. And the kids.
I will.
Love you.
For sure. Love you too.
This is Unfiltered Convos, y'all. I'm Thing 2.
I'm Thing 1.
I'm Katherine.
I know, right? Thank you. We out, y'all. Catch you on the dialogue.
Yeah, we out.
Alright, we need to break the show right now. The dark has gone bad.
How can we survive in a world like this? Ultimately we are one. This is a crisis. How can you tear down our brothers, tear down our sisters, our mothers too? This is a crisis. Chained up with lashes across our backs, we will fight back. This is my bow, we are under attack. Won't allow myself to fall in this trap. Young warriors breaking down barriers. Real fighters never get weary. Never get weary. I got to be wise. Got to realize they're feeding us with life in disguise. Yes, I'm a fighter, I'm a warrior with a lion's heart, breaking down barriers. I will march with my face to the sun. Jah as my guide, I will overcome. Young warriors breaking down barriers. Real fighters never get weary. Never get weary.
Welcome back, man. That's an interesting look on respiratory therapy. And I don't know if I could do that job, bro.
It does take
that takes a
for that job, man.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that was brought to the forefront and put a little bit of light on it, because like we said, man, people don't think about those kind of things. You just think it's like, hey, it's a good field. I see what there's a good amount of money and great living that I could have. Exactly. But now when you hear from the individuals that are on the inside, you get a little different perspective into it. Even herself, remember when she got into pre-med, and then once she actually started taking the courses and things of that nature, that it was, this isn't for me, and salute to that community college, because people always try to not down talk community colleges, but you know what I'm saying, it's always the you don't want to go there. I mean, you want to push a little bit more above and beyond that. But salute to community colleges, because sometimes it takes that for a person to set in, regather themselves, and then say, okay, and the things that they offer there, or the company that you come across, just socially networking and help make a better choice for yourself. So, salute to the community colleges out there, and vocational colleges and schools, tech schools, because it's not all about just the universities.
Yep, definite. Yeah, we need more trades.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
We need more trades, man. Definitely. Yeah, I bring the trades back. What happened to, I got a couple OGs, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember he was telling me, he grew up in Michigan, and he was telling me that, when you graduated high school, bro, you graduated with a certificate in something. You got a certificate in plumbing or welding. Right. He said, you was able to get out of high school and go get you a good job, benefits, that was the thing. And he was just like, man, after the 70s or something, they was like, oh, no.
Right. Maybe
they're doing too well.
Maybe we need to try to gather some more of those individuals from the panel back, man, because find out a little bit more about that, and why did a lot of these trade skilled type electives fade out, and then not even that, why were they only electives? As it sounds like that when you're telling and that experience, the more it sounds like that was more the course, that was part of their structured course setting, not in their electives to have for half a year, a semester here, and then you're done or whatever. It's like, bro, come on, man, like that, and you're not gonna get it and have that. It's just you're taking away something, and why aren't we better preparing them for not so much the workforce, but like you said, go out there and be an entrepreneur, even, what I'm saying? Because you could take that you'll say and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go open up my own mom and pops, what I'm saying, brick and mortar, and then build that on up. So it's kind of crazy to hear that, man, but I definitely agree. Bring it back, man. Let's
bring it back.
Yeah. And hopefully
you know how they bring it back though? You know how they bring it back now? Through the prison system. You prison and learn how to be a welder, a chef. You can get all that certification. Yeah, but you gonna go to prison first.
Right.
Fuck that. You know what I mean? That's and that's what they want you to do. And then so when they look at that application and they, so you been away. Maybe doing all that bill. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Comes with something. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes with something. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, man, always as we do, man, another great topic, some more good information for y'all out there. We got a lot more in store coming up for y'all, man. D stays busy, man. He be bringing in everybody. I'll be staying busy. So then we doing the editing, and then we try to come up, bro. Everything,
heavy on the grind.
It's definitely a nonstop grind. So, but I love it because it's stuff like this that we get a platform and people get a little bit of limelight, man. I think we've touched a lot of great different professions, individuals, backgrounds, and something for everybody out there to take from. There you go, man. It's not just, hey, for you and I. It's not just the stuff that we know. It's not just what we're bringing to the table in discussion. Like I said, I'm taking notes. Sometimes, I didn't know about that. Different stuff. So yeah, man, it's great, bro. It's great.
We learn something new every episode, man.
Yeah,
something brought to either our attention or to the thinksters out there, you know, viewing this. Real conversations from real people. None of that bullshit and that drama and that hype, man. Real talk. I mean, don't get me wrong. We'll talk about it from time to time. Probably make fun of y'all. but, you know, other than that, every day, real deal.
Yeah. You know? And that's what makes this, to me, a show that I like being a part of, a podcast show, because of the simple fact that it is, like, even when we talk to the people backstage, right, and behind the scenes, it's like, just be you. The conversations aren't just going to be generated out of what we want, and we got this script to follow when they ask us, well, what do I need to do, and what do you want me to say? It's not what we want you to say. It's what you want to say. How do you want to represent yourself? And then, you know, that becomes to be the staple of every show. If you notice that, like, the people, I'll be honest, bro, the people that say that they're nervous or bear with me, this is something I'm not used to, I don't do this a lot, or do it, those people come on here and they take over the show. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's like after they settle in and it's just like they flow, bro. It's just, it goes. And I'm not saying that we get the people that beat their chest, but those ones that have those questions about, like, hey, what do you want? I'm not, you know, hey, just be yourself. And they get on here and it's like, boom, and they just go. So I think it's the atmosphere that we create, my guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Definitely, man. Definitely. And today's show was brought to you by Remove the Unimportant and Focus on the Important. Stop dealing with bullshit. Real talk. Don't step in it, step over it. West.
Hey, this is Katherine. Thank you for tuning in to Thingz Of That Nature, and you owe it to yourself to take time for yourself.
Things of that nature. Things of that nature.
D&P Sweatshop, come on, tell us what you talking about. Left Coast Kings, and you owe it to yourself.